Konnichiwa and welcome to the preview of the Prix de Triomphe stage next Sunday, the 7th of October at Longchamp, the highlight of the flat season, the highlight of the European flat season, the world flat season. It's the best race of the year. I go every year. I'm exceptionally excited about this year because the favourite is none other than the Japanese Triple Crown winning horse, Orfevre. Orfevre won the Japanese Guineas, the Japanese Derby and the Japanese St. Ledger last year before winning the Arima Kanen. That's basically the Japanese equivalent of the Arc. Although the Japan Cup attracts all the international horses, the Arima Kanen run on Christmas Day is often the better race. He beat horses like Buena Vista, Victoire Pisa and other horses that have been beaten in the Arc previously. He then started his 4-year-old career quite badly, running out on debut and finishing second, but then he got back on track later in the summer and he came over to Europe in August, ran a trial at Longchamp earlier this month in the Prix, won pretty comfortably. A lot of people who were there that day said he wasn't fully fit, and you know, he beat Meander fairly comfortably in the end. He had to be asked a few questions, but he responded well and was well on top of the finish after pulling hard in the early stages. I backed Orfevre earlier in the year. I've been banging the drum all year about this horse. He's 7-2 favourite of us. There's still a bit of 9-2 out there, I think. I think the value's probably gone now, but I mean, for me, Orfevre is this year's Arc winner, and not many people are going to talk me out of it. We're going to run through the other contenders, but I think the Japanese horse is going to be incredibly hard to beat. He's got the class. He's going to improve from his trial, and he's got the great Christophe Soumillon on board, who's fantastic around Longchamp. Anyway, I'll stop talking about the Japanese horse. Second favourite, or with us anyway, is Daydream at 4-1. Daydream bigger and shorter elsewhere, but last year's winner, she's done nothing wrong. Everyone said at the time it was a fluke and all this nonsense. Loads of horses she beat have come out and won Group 1 since, like Charetta, Snow Fairy, etc. And you know, she deserves to be, you know, second or even joint favourite for the race. She won the King George earlier in the year after a poor start to the season, getting beaten at Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud, but that was a messy race. She seems to come into herself in autumn. She won a trial for this race at Baden-Baden. She had to grind it out a bit, but she won it fairly well. And I've got a feeling she's a bit better right-handed. All her runs left-handed have been a bit subpar. She got beat at Saint-Cloud. Her wins at Baden-Baden she's really had to be asked a few questions. But back at Longchamp, she romped home in this last year. Obviously she's a year older, but she doesn't seem to be any worse, and I think she's the biggest threat to the Japanese horse. I wouldn't put anyone off backing Daydream. Then we've got Nathaniel. Nathaniel's a solid horse. The ground next weekend is going to be pretty quick for Nathaniel. It's forecast to be pretty sunny all week in Paris with bits of rain in between. I wouldn't be taking 9-2, 5-1. He's currently 5-1 with us, given his, you know, you can back Orfevre and Daydream at 4-1, 9-2. I think he's got a bit to find with those two. He got beat by Snow Fairy in the Irish Champion, and really, if he wants to win an Arc, he should be beating Snow Fairy. Snow Fairy's been ruled out of the race today. She's out for the season, unfortunately. But I can't really see Nathaniel troubling horses like Orfevre and Daydream. He's just a few lengths behind them for me, and you know, at 5-1. I wouldn't be interested. Next we've got Camelot. Camelot, of course, won the Guineas, won the Derby, got beaten the St. Ledger. Various excuses peddled for that defeat. At the end of the day, the 3-year-olds this year have just looked poor. He's not beat anything of worth. You know, as impressive as his Guineas and Derby victories may have been, he has just looked like a fairly average horse a good horse in an average year, shall we say. And at 6-1, I couldn't be backing him. I really think he'll really struggle. I know 3-year-olds have got a great record in the race, but Aidan O'Brien hasn't got a great record with the 3-year-olds he's run in the race. And you know, a lot of these horses have been aimed at this race all year. Orfevre, Daydream, some of the others will come on to have been aimed at this race all year. They've suddenly decided after he's got beat in the St. Ledger that they want to run him in this. And I couldn't have Camelot at 6-1. He's well down the list of horses I'd be interested in. Next is Seonoi, who's 8-1, French Derby winner. Called a fluke for winning that in a very, very messy Prix de Jockey Cup at Chantilly. Then came in and won the Prix Nial. pretty impressive in winning it, but again, the 3-year-olds have looked poor. However, he's the one, if I had to have a bet now at today's prices, I'd probably back him. There's 10 to 1 out there. I think he'll probably drift. Meander last year, who we'll also come on to, was a 3-year-old who had won the Grand Prix de Paris and came second in the Prix. He drifted on the day. Reliable man who won the Prix last year. He drifted on the day, and I just think that this horse is another one who's going to drift down. Could be a bit of value, especially if the Japanese fans come over like they did when Deep Impact run. I don't think there'll be as many of them, but I can see Orfevre going off like 5-2-9-4 on the PMU. The French themselves sent the horse off a lot shorter on the PMU than he was on British industry prices when he ran in the Prix Foy. So I think there could be a bit of value in the market, and Sayonu would be the interesting one. I reckon he's from an unfashionable yard. You know, his owner's a boulanger, I believe. That's a baker for the ones who didn't do GCSE French. I think he'd be interesting. He'd be the one, if I had to have a bet at today's prices, he'd be the one. We'll just quickly touch on the others. Charetta ran a good race in the race last year. She made all and finished second. She's about 9 to 1. She won the Prix Vermeil early this month on Arc Trials Day. But I can't see how she's going to, reverse the form of Daydream, and she's got the extra problem of Orfevre and 3-year-olds like Sayonu who could improve. Master Stroke, Andre Fabre, 3-year-old, so he's automatically put in probably shorter than he should be. Won the Grand Prix Deauville, did beat all the horses that day, and you can never rule out an Andre Fabre 3-year-old, as we know. But 10, 12 to 1, I don't think there's much value there on what he's achieved. Didn't beat a lot that day at Deauville, and I kind of think that he's running in this because Godolphin haven't got anything else in the race. St Nicholas Abbey, hate the horse, despite all he's done, won the Breeders' Cup Turf. He's a reliable yardstick, but he's been beaten in this race before. He's been found out in it before. I can't see, how he's going to trouble the likes of Orfevre and Daydream. And I think, 16 to 1 with us, wouldn't be interested. Meander, same applies. He's been found out to be a decent horse, but not a top class one. Got beat on reappearance at Newmarket. And I couldn't have Meander. Got beat fair and square by Orfevre. Orfevre's probably going to improve from the trial run, and I definitely wouldn't be interested. Seamoon's been a bit of a disappointment, and I think 20 to 1 wouldn't interest me. I'm surprised they've come for this race because I think they're going to get stuffed when they've got other Group 1s internationally, like the Canadian International, and they could have another go at the Breeders' Cup Turf, something like that. I wouldn't be interested in Seamoon. Overall then, just to recap, I think Orfevre will win the Arc. I can't see him getting beaten. The only horse that is going to challenge him is Daydream. If I was forced to have a bet at the prices today, I'd back Sayonu, but I think he'll probably drift to be bigger. Watch the market on the day. I think there'll be a bit of value on the PMU. But all I can say is Gambar Orfevre, as they say in Japan. And remember to check out the website for the rest of the week. I'm sure all the other guys in the office will be putting up blogs on the Arc. It is the best race of the year. www.starsportsbet.co.uk to check all the blogs. Twitter is starsports_bet, and do give us a call on the day. It won't be on TV, but it'll be on terrestrial TV, but it'll be on Racing UK and at the races. So call us with any bets in the Arc, 08000 521 321, such as Orfevre winning distances, anything like that. Will Christophe Soumillon throw bits of his kit into the crowd again when Orfevre's parade in front of the stands? But any specials, give us a call, 08000 521 321, and enjoy the best race of the year.